But you're broken, don't slip in another. Gosh dang it. All right, now that we've got this set of walls up, we did that last time we were here, we're now gonna focus on the floor joist. So we're gonna get all the floor joist system done before we frame any of these other partition walls that are just gonna basically fit underneath the floor. We could do it now, but honestly, I find it a lot easier. And you guys have seen us do this where we will do the floor system and then we'll do our top bottom plate and shoot those studs exactly. The problem is you guys saw earlier when doing this wall, this concrete is not perfectly level. So it makes it easier to put a flat floor above it and just fit those studs underneath with an exact measurement instead of trying to play the game of cutting the studs to the right dimension, using the laser. It's just a lot easier. So we've got these joist hangers. We're gonna be using an engineered I-joist, and we've got all this top header here on the wall back here marked, and we are going to build a beam that's gonna sit on this post here. So this is a 16-foot span. We're gonna do an engineered LVL, double LVL beam, and then we'll get all those hangers mounted. And by the end of today, we should have a lot different look back here because we should have minimally all the I-joists installed. Maybe we'll get into some legacy subfloor sheathing, but let's go ahead and get into it. Good? Yep. Ah, good enough. Oh, that's gonna be super tight. There we go. Okay. Now, if only I had better standout on this Stabila. 1511, 3/4. Well, I mean, we'll use this for all the subfloor, but I'm also going to use it to just glue the LVLs together too. Hey, Greg, no more leaning over, man. This is a little excessive on the tip here, but okay. Oh, shoot. Dial that down. So one thing I've learned is do as much as you can on the ground. Many times we have put these beams up and then forgot to put our hangers on, and then guess what? You're up on a ladder, you're doing all that work. So I'm actually gonna lay this all out. Just seems like basic knowledge, but I promise you, everybody forgets once in a while, and it's good to have a reminder. Do what you can on the ground, save yourself the effort. So we're just gonna lay out a 16-inch on center for all of our I-joists. We'll get our hangers on the beam and then install the beam with the hangers on it. All right, so we were going to use a string line just to straighten this out, but the problem with string lines is unless you take it off of your measurement, anytime that your board touches that string line because you want it to be perfect, it can just incrementally move that string line out, and then pretty soon you look at it and you got this big bow in it. Don't ask me how I know. I've never had that happen to me, but I can assume that's what happens. So we're just gonna set up the laser. Because I have Greg on the other end, we've got an 1.5 inch mark, and Greg is gonna tell me where to put it. Now when we get close, because we're at 80 feet, so now what we're able to do up at the top of the wall is just take our tape measure and give ourselves an 1.5 inches. So we can move this wall in and out to that laser because we've got this, we've got a laser beam doing a full 180-degree beam. It's gonna always be perfect. We're not gonna mess with it. We're not gonna potentially have any issues. So that's why I like to use the laser. I mean, that might have, in your guys' view, took a lot of time because Greg is saying back, forth, and we're tapping it. Imagine me going up here, finding where to put my string, putting a nail, tying a string, walking to the other end, tying another knot. Like, that takes time too. This, it's done, it's set up, and now we're good to go. Now that we have that laser set up, and I can see the laser here, what I can do is Greg is gonna measure an 1.5 inches from the face of the post. Show him there, Greg. You're gonna move that column to 1.5 inches. And I've got to mark where my I-joist is gonna set up here, and I'm just gonna use my LDM, set it here. And now I've got 11 foot 8 3/8, and that is the dimension for this I-joist. We'll set it up here. That's gonna lock this column in, so when we put these LVLs up, we don't have to worry about the weight of them moving, and it'll tell us exactly where it's gotta be. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's cut that, 11 8 3/8. That's an exact measurement, Greg. Let's take take the blade on it. That actually wasn't bad at all. I'm gonna slide these back. Come on, buddy. There you go. I thought it's not bad. I got you, buddy. Yep. Now, Greg, let's just. I'm gonna go ahead and hit a screw in this temporarily, and then we'll check our measurement so that we're straight. So we're just gonna put a temporary screw in here. All right. So now that I have this I-joist just locked on top of this column, when I come in here with my tape, I can see that laser right at 1.5 inches. So I know that now this post is right where it belongs, and now we can set our LVL on here, and it won't move around on us. It's gonna be right where it has to be. So let's get that first LVL up, Greg. Okay, you're gonna go long? I'm just gonna do it all myself. What? Huh? Hey. Okay. That will help you balance? Your ladder's on the trim? No, that's not good. Why is your ladder even like that? You should walk up into it, not on a way that's gonna fall away. Here, hold that there. Lord. You ready?
Hope so. Oh, thanks, buddy.
There. Okay.
I did it.
You are. Go ahead. Let's see. I need to be 7/16 from this other guy. That was my layout. About 1/2 inch actually, right there. And then we're going to flush it up. and just throw a temp screw in it for now. Just so it doesn't go anywhere, but that way we don't like totally secure this thing until we know everything is right where we want it. But the nice thing is LVLs are very straight typically. So coming through here now with the LDM and measuring all of our I-joists, boom, is just as easy as putting it in the pocket. Which one am I on? This one? Yeah. And 11/8 and 3/8 again. So that's what it should be, pretty consistent, but we are gonna have some ins and outs probably, and that's why we do this. We take precaution, because if we just cut every I-joist to the exact dimension and then come up and install them, I guarantee you it's not gonna be straight. So we'll cut each one to whatever this thing tells us, and at any point we can take our tape measure, put it on the face of this beam, and it should read 1.5 inches on that laser we set up. All right, cool. I like it. 760. This is infinitely easier than trying to pull a tape measure out and get a hook over here somewhere and then check a dimension. It just doesn't even make any sense. I'm telling you guys, if you don't have a laser distance measurer, any of them at this distance are gonna be great, but people always ask me what I use, and this is the BT250, I think. LD250BT, and that's because it has Bluetooth and I can hook it up to my phone, and every time I get a dimension, boom, boom, it's gonna send that to my phone, and I can recall that like over at the saw. I guess I'm too lazy, I just end up writing it down, so. 3/8.
Freaking staple, man. Look at that.
Always make sure you crown your I-joist, guys. Jeez, I'm gonna start breathing hard though. Yeah, actually I'm not that strong, Greg. These are just really lightweight. Here we go. Yeah, dude, look at that. I think I have sweat dripping down my face. I just felt like a stream.
Yep.
Nice.
You did.
Okay. Jeez, I thought you were gonna die, man. I'm glad you're still with us. Just keep your hand on it. I'm gonna go grab my drill. It's not going anywhere, but. I'd hit that. There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11/8 and 3/8.
Dude, come on. Why did you do that to me? You know, I don't know if it's just me, but something Greg and I try to always do, and we actually failed this time, is to have all the writing going the same way, facing up, just trying to be aesthetically pleasing. And when we did this first I-joist, we did all the writing facing this way. And I know that's like totally OCD, but I like to come in, and when you look down these I-joists, boom, all of them are going the same way. So, I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter, but it's what we try to do, and we mess that one up. All right, now we're gonna be putting I-joists into this section, which is where we have the framed wall. And This wall is kind of loose. I mean, we could do a bunch of framing to try to firm it up in certain spots, but since we have a nice solid wall over here, we're going to actually measure our 1.5 inches off of the wall on each post location, and then we're gonna lock it in with an I-joist. That way we can at least ensure that every 8 foot, this wall is gonna be precisely where we want it, and in between that 8 foot, it's not gonna be an issue. We're not gonna have to worry about anything. So we're just gonna use the LDM once again. Greg's gonna measure my 1.5 inches, and we'll get an I-joist cut for every 8 foot going down this wall. 11, 10, and 3/4. 11, 10, and 15/16.
Okay.
We can only do this and lock in at a post, because anytime you're doing it out here, this 2x12 does have movement, and we start pushing and pulling, as you'll see very soon, out here on this wall. We don't want to just move this in here, and we know this isn't going anywhere. So this is where I'm gonna make sure that this joist is locked in. Okay. And then we'll come out here to the wall and we'll straighten it and get it fastened. Okay, so you can see right here, that little mark, that is where I originally marked for my, we're gonna have a rim board out here. It's gonna, come on the face of this, and that's 1 1/8. So I can actually just take this, push this wall in until I'm flush where I want it, like so. Right on my mark. There's my layout mark. There, so now this is locked on, and if we did our job correctly, boom, you can't really see that from your side, but I am right at 1.5 inches. So now this is locked in. We'll do that on each one of these posts, and then we'll just fill in the middle by using this, boom, and get a dimension, 11, 10, and 3/4, which is actually what this one was. So good to go. It's using your brain, not your muscles, because that was actually a lot of work to pull that out, but a little bit of leverage made it easy and got it nice and flushed up. Did you see that, Greg? Are you proud of me? Whatever, dude. It was a pretty good one. It was a good use of the trick that everybody already knows. All right, now that these 3 are locked in, we got this wall nice and straightened, and that was just by using that laser at 1.5 inches and then locking it in at each post location. So now we can fill in the middle. What I'm doing is sucking these in as tight as possible, because remember we use the LDM to measure them. So we want to make sure that we've got everything tight, otherwise it can cause problems with our overall dimension and the straightness of the outside. Normally I probably wouldn't waste a screw, but since we're going to be connecting them with all the joist hanger nails, but just to make everything nice and tight. I know what I forgot after lunch, Greg. You too. I wonder why it's so loud in here. Yeah. Forgot to put them suckers in. I've been doing damage to my ears all day and I didn't even remember. Oh boy. Missed it. So something that always makes me feel good is, you guys, we've been talking about since the beginning how uneven this concrete floor was. Well, I think now you will see why we spent the time to do all that grade shooting with the laser on each individual stud, because when you look at the bottom of this rim joist, which is structural, straight, and it will show every imperfection in a wall. And look down that, right above that top plate between the rim joist and the plate, it's straight as an arrow. And that makes me feel really good, because I know that this top is running perfectly straight. I don't want to say perfect. It's really good. Really good. Really good. So we're just going to nail the bottom. And then I'm just going to take my square, and we're going to make sure, because these always have a little twist to them, so I'm just going to make sure it's square, and then I'll nail the top. Got to watch out for your fingers. Loud environment, sound levels hit 90 decibels. At this level, can cause temporary hearing loss. Greg, 90 decibels in here, temporary hearing loss, and you don't have your ISO tunes. Come on, dude. Yeah, my watch just said 90 plus decibels. Repeated long-term exposure can lead to permanent damage. Consider using hearing protection or moving to a quieter area. Oh, and if you want, you can always use my code over at isotunes.com. I'll put a link down below in the description, and you can give yourself a pair of IsoTunes for your birthday, Christmas, maybe even, what's coming up? Easter? Easter. What a great Easter basket idea for your kids. You want to get them on a hearing loss prevention mindset at a young age. So RRB10, get your kids some IsoTunes for their Easter baskets. I like it. Okay, well, now that we have the rim joist done, our I-joist done, you can hear maybe behind me, Greg has started going through and filling in all the holes on all the joist hangers, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we got about 12 nails per hanger. And that noise is all we're going to hear for the next probably 30, 40 minutes. So when we're done with that, then it will be time to start doing some LP Legacy subfloor. All right, yesterday we wrapped up putting those I-joists on. Now this morning we're going to start doing the hard work, and that is going to be moving this massive pile of subfloor. I wish we had a piece of machinery. That would be awesome. Up here, and we're going to start laying it on this mezzanine. So before we do that, though, what we're going to do is start running. Greg is running a tape measure down this face. We're marking every 6 foot, and we're going to add blocking. That way, when we go do our railing, we've got something solid. I think we're going to be doing some form of either an aluminum rail, like you guys have seen us do in the past, or the client is looking at one of those cable rail systems. He kind of wants it to be, pretty cool looking, so that would be awesome. It'd be new for us. I've never done one of those. So definitely, if you guys have some information on that or ideas, drop those down below, so when we get to that stage, maybe I'll have a little bit of background knowledge. But once we get that blocking done, we'll find our straight line, and we'll start running some of this LP Legacy subfloor. All right, so now that we've got a straight face on that mezzanine, we're gonna go ahead and get a chalk line so we can line up the backside of all of our panels to be as straight as possible. We're gonna have a 3/4 overhang because we're gonna have some material on the face of this mezzanine, so I don't wanna just go off of the face of our mezzanine with our sheets. So this just gives us another reassuring line to get straight on. You good, Greg? I see some stuff. You good? Oh. Yeah. Somewhere in there. I know it probably does not matter, especially because we're using a 2.5-inch top on our I-joist, but I just like to, on this first row, just kind of get everything into place and double check that my spacing on my joists are good. Because when you're up here and you're moving around all this sheathing and you're putting the weight on it, it can kind of flex them and then stay there, and you don't want it to be, you know, you don't want joists leaned over and twisted as they're getting installed. That's where they don't have much strength. So this first row, we'll make sure that these are all running good, and then it should be fine from there on out. Okay, I got it.
All you?
No. Slide it out to your line. Hit it. Hit it. Yeah, hit it.
Let you move back.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Oh, that's good, dude.
Yeah.
How about there? Oh no, I got glue on the bottom of my tape. So now that we've got the first run done, we're actually going to stagger this. I don't know if we actually have to stagger these sheets if you follow the proper nailing, but I just feel like that gives you a stronger floor. So we've got a 32-inch piece I need to cut for the last piece on this. And instead of typically we might go 4-foot offsets, we're just going to go ahead and stagger it back 32 inches and use as much scrap pieces as possible instead of wasting a 4-footer down there and then starting with a 4-footer here. First time on site, Milwaukee track saw. Yay. What I like about this Milwaukee is it's probably not more powerful than the Makita that we've been using, but honestly, I just like the fact that the measurements are in like imperial, not metric. So I know if I just go, and they got this little thing so you know that one side is the depth. So if I put this at 1 inch, that's without the track. And then on this side, you know your track depth. So I can ensure that I'm gonna cut through. It's just a nice handy thing. Okay, so there's a piece for our far end. There you go, Greg. And now this is the piece that we'll start with, and it'll give us our stagger and reduce our waste, which I'm all about. Nice. All right, we got that first row down. We got our stagger going. This is a lot of monotony, so we're just gonna go ahead, we'll set the time lapse up, and let's run this subfloor out. Now that we have all of our legacy subfloor ran that we can up top, we've got this area right here that we're gonna frame for the staircase. So once we define the staircase exactly, then we can finish the sheathing. We probably took a little bit of the instant gratification approach by just running that sheathing and not having this all framed in, but we know we are missing our stringers, our 2x12 stringers for the staircase, so I just wasn't that gung-ho about getting into it, but now we have to do it. So I'm getting a layout, Greg is putting on hangers, and we'll start getting this framing done. So what I've got here is the LA 600G, and I've got it set up on the original line that defined this long wall here. And it looks like we're pretty darn good. Right in here, you can see that laser is just kissing the framing. But what I've got it set up there for is to define up there on the wall exactly what square and where this wall that I'm going to build eventually is going to go. So that means I can come in here, set this bad baby. Might be a little tricky. glad you were there, man. Okay. 4-foot landing up here, which means that's where I want to take my second I-joist, and that's going to define where this landing is. So, you got that LDM real quick? Yeah. Be a little bit more accurate. Let's go ahead. 7-11, 2 clean cuts.
Yep.
And then that will go here. That'll define where our rim joist is going to go on both sides. We can then build our wall. And the reason this is here is because the wall is going to be right here. I wanted these stair landing I-joists to sit on top of this wall. So there's going to be a door that will go into the, I guess, little maintenance. What do you got there?
I've seen better days, right?
Yeah, but
Is that from when it fell?
There
we go.
Now. Yeah, it's just aluminum, dude. It could be straightened out. You know, if only Mark would make us a, if only Mark would make us a nice
Giant speed square.
giant 12-inch speed square.
See if I can see that.
I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
As long as you can go over there and cut me my 7-11, I'm gonna be pretty happy. So anyway, I didn't want a hanger because this isn't a beam per se. I didn't want to hanger these I-joists. So I want them to sit on top of this wall. And so we're actually going to change the I-joist direction. It's going to go perpendicular to these, but it's all going to be underneath the sheet, so it won't matter at all. All right, and then, Greg, we're going to cut a rim joist at 7-11 as well. This will be my first support joist here for the stair landing. This will all be sitting on a wall eventually, but I find it much easier to just do this all now. All right, now that we have this defined back here, you can see we've got the stairway defined. Now Greg and I can go ahead and finish these last couple pieces of legacy subfloor. Now you're trying to fall. Nice grab, Greg. Some butter work there. Look at that. Man. Lonesome feeling comes through my door. I don't know the words to the song. Oh, it's been almost every night. Yeah. Beneath the light of a knee.
That was almost my knuckle.
Yeah. Oh, there's always room here for watch your broken bone slip in and out of the gosh dang it. of a broken heart. I don't know. What is it?
I've got a weird feeling that this year
All right, that finishes up the staircase opening. I got a little bit of cutting to do, and then we'll go ahead and rip down little tiny pieces, about 2.5 inches. That'll run down this whole back wall. It's just kind of a filler strip. Luckily, it's on a lot of solid material there, so I don't worry about a little piece. I obviously wouldn't want to leave a little piece there if it was, you know, not going to be supported. But yeah, up against a wall like that, no one's going to be jumping around, walking around there. It's not really a big deal. We'll glue it all down. But now we've got this mezzanine subfloor down. LP Legacy 3/4 inch. Good stuff. And all glued down. Tetra grip nailer fastened down. So even though it's just a shop, we're still going to do the best we can. Give a nice solid floor for somebody to use or do whatever they want up here. I don't know what's going to be done up here, but at least now they can do it and feel good about it.